Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be going over a video I recorded about 7 months ago. It's a complete teardown of the long block of LS. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's going to be a little bit more on the boring side because I didn't have any plans to post it. So I just did a lot of time lapses and stuff. So I'm going to try to speak over it and make it a little bit more informative and enjoyable. So let's get to it. Today I'm going to be tearing down this LS. It's a 5.3 liter LMG block. So it's an iron block with aluminum heads. These have 799 heads on it. Right here I'm taking apart the rocker arms. I've never really taken a full engine apart before, so I wanted to make sure that everything was labeled and stayed together. So I was zip tying and labeling which cam lobe it was coming off of, just so that when I put it back together, if I used the same stuff, I would have a place for it. Now I'm taking off all the head bolts. People suggest not using an impact during this process, but as long as you know what you're doing, it shouldn't be an issue, especially if you're not reusing the head bolts like I am. Putting new ARPs in when I put it back together, so I wasn't too worried about it. Everything came off super smooth. As you can see, there's a bunch of grime in here from it being a DoD engine, which is displacement on demand. It was something that Chevy thought would help with fuel economy and be a little more efficient, but when you're trying to make power, there's really no need for it. I took off all the lifters. I turned it over by hand, and it seemed like everything went over smooth, so that's a good sign that it's a good block to begin with. Then I removed the crank pulley with a crank puller tool. Now on to removing the front cover. With this being a Gen 4 block, it has the variable valve timing as well. So the cam has like a phaser on the front of it. That'll be getting removed and being replaced with a 3-bolt cam instead of just the single bolt. During this whole process, I'm trying to make sure that I'm putting all the bolts back exactly where I found them so I don't lose anything. Even if I'm not going to reuse it, I just want to make sure that I have them. With the front timing cover off, you can see the oil pump. All the timing chain guides, all that look good, but I definitely suggest replacing that along with this cam seal. No matter what you're doing with the engine, if you remove the front timing cover, I suggest replacing those because it's a real pain to go back in later and have to replace them then. So now I get to remove the cam. I'm being super careful just because I want to make sure that all the cam bearings are still good. Everything looked to be in amazing shape. Again, I don't plan on reusing any of that, but it's still nice to know that it came from a good engine. Now moving on to the main caps. This is considered a 6-bolt main, so it has 2 bolts on each side and then 4 across the center. They make a tool for removing these that makes it a lot easier. This being an iron block, I wasn't too worried about prying on it a little bit, but I highly recommend the tool no matter what, especially if it's an aluminum block. So after fighting with all these, I eventually got them all out. Now that all the main caps are off, we can go ahead and remove the pistons. It's important to make sure that each of these is labeled so that you know exactly which cylinder they came out of. If you're reusing them, they have to go back into the same cylinder. As you can see here, I took my time and labeled each one. All the rod bearings look good. The pistons look good. There's just a little bit of carbon buildup on them, but I expect that. The wrist pins move freely and all that, so that's a good sign. All the rings look good too. None were missing or broken. I'm just using a rubber mallet to help me push the pistons out. Now with all the pistons and rods out, we can go ahead and remove the rear cover. Of course, when I bolted this onto the engine stand, some of them aligned with the bolts on the stand, so I had to use a wrench to get them out. Once we finally got that out, we can go ahead and remove the crank. And then just the 5 main bearings that remain in the engine. And now it's officially a bare block. Here's a shot down in all the cylinder walls. They all look good. They're going to need a quick hone just to put a nice crosshatch back in them, but other than that, they look good. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit more of me talking and more time-lapsing. I hope you guys at least learned something. The next episode is going to be pretty similar to this. Now that we have it down to a complete bare block, we're going to be installing the pistons, rods, all that kind of fun stuff. It's all brand new. And again, I recorded that one about 7 months ago, so this engine's been ready to go. But I just wanted to give you guys something to look forward to. The engine is officially in the car, so on the next episode, we're just going to do the same thing, talking through a lot of time lapses, probably a lot more information because there's a lot that goes into an engine rebuild. But the engine is officially in the car, so we'll have that episode out for you soon. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the support, and we'll see you next time.